Hey, Zach here with Holy Smokes Barbecue. Thank you for tuning in today's episode. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate all your support as we continue our journey for great barbecue. On today's episode, we're going to cook a brisket, and we're going to do a dry brine for 2 days and then low and slow this brisket to really produce what I think is one of the best quality barbecues out there. Today, we're cooking live from our barbecue trailer, which we call Smoke on Wheels, and so tune in today's episode as we catch and learn how to cook a brisket. All right, we are going to be cooking a brisket today. We have an 18-pound brisket that we've already prepped, and we've cut, and we've done a little dry seasoning, a salt and pepper SPG mix on it. So what our technique is that we love to do is we love to do a dry brine. And a dry brine is simply this. It's a salt mixture on the outside of the meat that you let sit for up to 2 to 3 days. And what it does is salt really generates moisture. And so it brings moisture from the inside out to the surface, which you can notice here. It soaks in, absorbs, then the salt brings the flavor and moisture back into the meat. And what it does is it actually connects with the protein and holds in the moisture. And so we have found that in a dry brine of brisket, there's actually more moisture when you dry brine than when you inject it and try to get moisture inside of it or marinate it or even do a wet brine, which we wouldn't recommend for the brisket. But a salt dry brine, I believe, is one of the best techniques for cooking brisket. It gets so much flavor and keeps so much moisture in there, and you'll notice just very little moisture left in the pan here. It's all kind of reabsorbed into this. This has been sitting for almost 2 days with this salt and pepper mixture on the outside. And so all that we do after we've already dry brined, we don't wash it off, we leave everything on there. We do just a light coat of Montreal steak seasoning, and we go light with this because there's salt in this, and there's already quite a bit of salt on the outside of this, so we don't do it too heavy. We just kind of do a light coat on the outside just to kind of give it another little layer of flavor. And we'll just do it on this top side, and then we'll let this sit for a few minutes so it can kind of get tacky and stick to it. And then we're going to throw this thing on the smoker. And what we do is we cook our briskets right at that 275 to 300. I try to keep it no higher than 300, no lower than that 275 mark. And we'll let this thing sit in the smoker for 3 hours. We won't touch it, we won't do anything, we won't open the door. And after the 3-hour mark, we'll begin to kind of spritz it. Typically you'll get some dry corners starting to dry up a little bit, some of the smaller ends, usually the flat area will start to dry up a bit. And so we'll hit it with some moisture, and then we'll keep doing that for probably a good 7 hours. Once we've gotten some color that we like, we'll wrap the brisket in butcher paper, and then we'll throw it back on the smoker at that 300, 325 and let it coast all the way to really hitting that 200, 205 mark. And so we don't wrap our brisket by temperature, we wrap by color. And so when I've kind of achieved the color that I like, the bark is set, then we kind of pull it off then and wrap it. Typically it's going to be in that 160 mark, and then it kind of finishes off to the 205. So let's go back to the smoker and get this thing on. All right, our smoker is up to about 275 mark. We're going to throw this on there. And typically what I do for my briskets is my smoke rolls, heat kind of comes up through here. So the hot box back here rolls across the grate and then comes out. So I stick my point closer to the firebox as it kind of rolls over it. So let's get this thing on. All right, the brisket's been on for 3 hours. We're going to check it and start spritzing it. Hey, welcome back. We have pulled the brisket off. It cooked for about 9 hours. After it hit a temperature about 200, 203, we tested it with the probe and it was soft, and we pulled it out, wrapped it in towels, and just let it sit for the last 2 hours. And so it should be ready to go. Temperature has dropped a little bit, and so let's jump in and check it out and see how it turned out.